I'm about to share something with you that is going to hopefully make you understand why Pokemon investing works. It's one of the biggest reasons why I personally came into the hobby. For the past few years, Pokemon has been growing a ton of interest, and you probably heard the narrative of people buying boxes years ago and it being worth thousands of dollars today. And you might be wondering, what if I do that? I should start getting into this. So you start buying a bunch of sealed products, but you're not really sure what you're doing. Well, in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 core principles that you need to know when it comes to Pokemon sealed investing. So if that sounds interesting, definitely stick around. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Moon. We stream on Whatnot, TikTok. Make sure you guys follow our social, Instagram, all of that down below. So before we go over point number 1, the one thing I want to mention is that Pokemon investing, that term, is still fairly new, and I'm not entirely comfortable using that word. But for the sake of terminology and simplicity, we're gonna call it investing. But this is not financial advice, nor am I a financial advisor, so make sure you do your own research and due diligence before you make any sort of financial decisions, especially when it comes to collectibles like Pokemon. All right, so the first thing that you need to understand if you're getting into sealed collecting or investing is to know and understand Pokemon first. I know that sounds super simple, but you'd be shocked how many people buy sealed product and hold it for long-term investment without really understanding the basics of Pokemon. For example, I invest into only 2 single stocks, Amazon and Apple, and that's it. I don't invest into any other single stocks because I don't use their products and I don't understand it the way that I do with Apple products and Apple company and Amazon because I use it almost on a daily basis. In that same way, if you decide to get into sealed investing, you should at least know what Pokemons are in demand, which Pokemons are popular, are kids around your area collecting Pokemon as well, and maybe watch a few videos online, whether it's vendor POVs or market analysis or just openings. It is the most basic thing, but that is why it's the most important thing. You have to understand what you invest into. Anything you invest into in your entire life moving forward, you need to understand what you're putting your money into. The second principle is to buy product you understand. So every year, Pokemon Company comes out with around 5 different sets, and each set contains different cards, different chases, different Pokemons, different themes, and it's important for you to understand what product to pick up and buy. For example, most sets will have booster boxes, and so I personally like booster boxes to buy and hold. But specialty sets like Prismatic Evolutions and Ascended Heroes do not have booster boxes. So the next best option are going to be ETBs. But sometimes the ETBs can take up a lot of space, so people like booster bundles. But some collection boxes are nicer than ETBs and booster bundles because they have very special promo cards inside those collection boxes. So before you decide to invest into a product, you have to ask yourself a few questions. Why do people want this product? What is the chase card in this product? And is it a desirable chase card? Is the product unique? In other words, does it have a unique promo inside? Does it have good pack value? Is it good on display? So meaning if you put it on your shelf, is it going to look nice? And the biggest question is, will collectors want it years from now? Because at the end of the day, no matter how much different sorts of products you have, the number one important thing is liquidity. It doesn't matter if you own $1 million worth of Pokemon cards. If nobody wants it, then you can't cash out. So things like booster boxes are very liquid because there are pack openings, there are rip and shifts. People like to display booster boxes. So booster boxes, in my opinion, are really good. I also like loose packs as well when it comes to specialty sets like Crown Zenith, Prismatic Evolution, Ascended Heroes, because ETBs, booster bundles, collection boxes, they take up a lot of space. So when you have single packs, you're able to sort them out in a very compact area. And that's another reason why I like booster boxes, is that you can have 36 packs in a very compact box. But because I understand what I'm buying into, I also don't invest into every single set. I know there are some people that will say, just buy a little bit of everything and just hold it. But I don't diversify like that because I know that I can make more gains by just focusing on a few sets that I know will outperform the majority. Like in the stock market, if you can pick out the right single stocks, it can outperform the S&P 500. Yes, there is more risk, but you can also have calculated risk by buying safer stocks like Apple. Not financial advice, but I love Apple stocks. And my Apple stock has outperformed the NASDAQ, the S&P 500. Yes, there is risk, but there's also more reward. So it's important to buy product that you understand. Just because it's a cheap set does not mean it has potential to become like an evolving skies booster box. There's a saying, no matter how much you invest into trash, at the end of the day, it is still trash. What's crazy about Pokemon is that even the worst set in Pokemon history still does well. Like you look at Pokemon Go, it still goes up. It's crazy. But what if you put that money into something like Crown Zenith? Then you would have completely outperformed the majority of the Sword and Shield era sets. So not only do you have to understand Pokemon as your first core principle, but you also have to understand the product as well. The third principle is to think long-term, not month to month. Once you start buying sealed products, you start inputting all those numbers into an app like Collector. This is not a sponsored video, but Collector is a great app to monitor the value of your collection. It's not entirely accurate, but it's pretty on point and it gives you a good insight on your collection value. Although it's a great tool to have, it can also work against you as well. For example, you might check your phone every single day to check the value of your sealed products, and you might find it super frustrating that it's not moving. The market moves, price fluctuates, reprints happen, demand changes. So a lot of the prices will go up and down. Once you start to see your collection go down, you'll freak out and you might panic sell your stuff. You might be like, I'm gonna sell my sealed collection for 80%. I wanna leave this market, because you might one day open up the app and you'll see the prices drop and you'll make a decision that you shouldn't be doing. And that is out of fear, right? You're making a decision out of fear because you're worried that your collection will go to nothing, which it won't, right? And the last thing you wanna be doing is panic selling your entire collection. Pokemon investing is a long game. I recommend just holding at least 2 years, because from the moment a set comes out, it stops printing usually after the 2.5-year mark. And that's when you start to see price appreciation on some of the older sealed stuff. If you stuck around this long in the video, I'm about to share something with you that is going to hopefully make you understand why Pokemon investing works. It's one of the biggest reasons why I personally came into the hobby. So when Pokemon Company comes out with a new set, that set is in rotation. In other words, it's in print for the next 3 years. Now they might stop printing it after 2 years or 2.5 years, but usually around the 2 to 2.5 year mark, they stop printing that set. But within the 3 years, they can print it as much as they want, but they don't, because they got to focus on the next set. They got to focus on the previous sets that they need to reprint. So they're always backed up. Now, once they stop printing that set, that means that there is a set supply of that product in the entire world, meaning there are no more after they stop printing. This is game changer. This is crazy, because that also means that there's only a set supply of the chase cards from those sets. This means that there are no more Umbreon VMAX Altards ever being printed ever again. There are no more Rayquaza VMAX Altards ever printed again. There are no more Gengar VMAX Altards printed ever again. They are either already pulled or they are going to be in seal packs for the rest of their life. And I come from a crypto background, so I understand Bitcoin's fundamentals very clearly. And one thing to know about Bitcoin is that there are only 21 million Bitcoins ever created, and no one can ever create more Bitcoin. There's a set supply of only 21 million Bitcoins. And so the reason why Bitcoin is designed to appreciate over time is only one, if there's demand for it, but because there's a set supply and there's a limited amount, the more people invest into it, buy into it, price appreciates for Bitcoin. Because again, there's only a set supply of Bitcoin. And that same with Pokemon, there's a set amount of supply of sealed product that exists in the market once Pokemon Company stops printing. That means that as people continue to rip sealed products over time, there becomes less and less and less. If Pokemon continues to be in high demand, well, there's going to be less and less of those boxes. Therefore, the prices of those sealed products will appreciate as well, because demand grows. Very, very simple supply and demand. I feel like I kind of overcomplicated that, but to keep it very simple, the properties of Bitcoin and Pokemon printing, very similar. So think long-term when it comes to Pokemon investing. The fourth core principle is wealth creation versus wealth preservation. So Pokemon investing can be both. It can be one vehicle to help you create wealth quicker, and that's a very dangerous word, but it also could be an area where you can park your money to preserve your wealth. So if you make a lot of money elsewhere, right, and you want to have a place to preserve your wealth, I think Pokemon is one vehicle, one place, one asset class that you can park your money, but always make sure that you're not over leveraged. Make sure you're not taking too much risk in that sense. But at the same time, if you invest into sealed products and it doubles in like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, it doesn't hurt to take profit and put that money elsewhere, such as the stock market, where it's a little bit more stable. For example, let's go the wealth creation route. So let's say you have $100 and you invest into a sealed product. And let's say a few months later, it doubles to $200. Then you decide to sell it and you buy something else that could potentially double as well. If you do that 5 times, your 100 becomes 200, 200 becomes 400, 400 becomes 800, 800 becomes 1600, 1600 becomes $3,200. You just 32x'd your money in a shorter period of time versus the stock market, which you cannot do, right? That is a 3,100% gain on your money. You cannot get a 3,100% gain on just buying and holding one booster box. It's not going to happen. But if you buy, sell, and do it over and over and over again, you could have crazy amounts of wealth, but you've created that wealth. Now, after you've gone through the wealth creation process, now you're able to preserve that wealth. And you can do that by holding one specific sealed product, maybe like a first edition booster box or a first edition fossil or jungle booster box that can maintain value. Or you can move that money elsewhere into like the stock market or real estate or anywhere that you feel comfortable and that you understand. Also, when you start to have like a huge sealed collection, you're going to start to realize that storage is now an issue. So another smart thing to do is to consolidate your sealed items, a bunch of smaller items, into a fewer quality products instead. So when you start investing into Pokemon, think about both the wealth creation process and the wealth preservation process. And the last core principle when it comes to Pokemon sealed investing is to set goals. I know that sounds super simple, but it's important to have a clear goal on why you are doing what you are doing. One of the best advice I can give you is to not be greedy when it comes to investing. You're going to see some of the returns on Pokemon and your brain's going to start to wire and be like, oh my gosh, I should start to pour everything into this because I can make so much more. And although that could be a possibility, it is also very dangerous to be in that field. There's a saying, bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. So if you start to get really, really greedy in this hobby, you might see an outcome that will be very unfavorable for you. If you're on the right side though, it can be very rewarding for you. That just ends up becoming a test of whether you're a good investor or not. A great place to start when it comes to setting goals is just to sit down, open an Excel sheet or pen or paper, write down how much cash do you have, how much debt do you have, what's the worth of all your assets, whether it's your house, collectibles, anything that has value. And then from there, just ask yourself, what should I do next? And that's a great place to start. If you have no debt and no mortgage payments, that's a great place to be in, right? So personally for myself, my goal is to do what I am doing consistently for the next 5 years. I'm 35 right now. In 5 years, I'm going to be 40. Why am I not planning for 10, 20, 30, 40 years? Because I want to do up to 5 years first. Once I've hit my 5th year, I might start changing my strategy and my goals. But the most important thing is just to have a goal, to set a goal that is obtainable, tangible, reasonable. There's a possibility that I might also change my goals next year or in 2 years, right? But the most important thing is just to set a goal, have it there. At least you have a vision, a clear vision of where you want to get to. That can be as simple as just trying to make 100 a week to shop for groceries for your family, or it can be something as big as making a down payment for your first house or paying off your house. And the reason why setting your goal is so important is because that pretty much is setting up your why. Why are you investing into Pokemon sealed product? And if you understand your why clear, then you're able to block out all the noise that'll prevent you from making bad decisions. Pokemon investing, that whole term and the investing space of Pokemon is still fairly new. It is still somewhat risky, but historically it has appreciated and outperformed the stock market, which is amazing. Will it continue to do that? I hope so. But if it doesn't, make sure you're not over leveraged. But hopefully this video was helpful for anyone that is thinking about getting into sealed investing or needs more guidance and direction in sealed investing. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave it down below. And if you guys have any tips, your personal tips and advice on Pokemon investing, leave it down below as well. Let's build it together as a community. Thank you all so much. Make sure you have a blessed day. I'll see you in the next video. Over. Good night, good morning. Adios.